let me share a little secret with you about travel sketching. As beginners, including myself, we often believe we need a ton of art supplies. But you know what? What I discovered is that the more I dive into sketching, the fewer items I actually pack. When I began, I believed I needed the perfect sketchbook, the ideal brushes, sable brushes, all the colors, but I found myself spending more time researching supplies online than actually sketching or drawing. So in this video, I would love to share with you the simple kit I take on my travels or urban sketching, and how keeping it minimal has really made sketching a joy.
Let's begin with a discussion about sketchbooks. Sketchbooks are very personal and you have your own preferences based on how you intend to use them for sketching, drawing, or painting. I recommend against buying expensive sketchbooks as beginners may hesitate to use them due to their cost. Instead, choose inexpensive ones with at least 200 GSM paper for watercolor use, or sketchbooks with 150 GSM paper can also work if you limit the amount of watercolor applied. Here are some examples of sketchbook I used during my early days. I even made these two sketchbooks myself by learning how to bind them using hot press watercolor paper, which is more suitable for mixed media and great for experimentation. While they aren't well crafted, as you can see here on the spine, there's a gap, they serve the purpose to practice, learn, and create without fear of making a mess, since they were very affordable. But if you are not sure about binding your own sketchbook, there are plenty of affordable options to buy. And these ones here, they have 150 GSM paper, which is not very thick, but sufficient to hold watercolor on it. As I demonstrate here, I applied some watercolor and it held up quite well. The paper is not very smooth, but it works very well with ink and pencil, as I believe that's the primary purpose of these sketchbooks. I recommend you get sketchbooks that are very inexpensive. They're simple, or make one yourself like I did, but avoid expensive sketchbooks as you may be a little hesitant to use them, and therefore you are not going to be able to learn, practice, and improve. Now, if you choose to buy a sketchbook designed for watercolor, just make sure it's not glued at the spine. As you can see here, glued spine tend to fall apart over time. I made a mistake to buy this one with a glued spine without paying attention. Now I have to fix it, but I didn't have time to do it yet. So just be mindful of that important detail. Now let's talk about size. I made this sketchbook for our trip to America last summer, and I choose a larger size because I expected to do a lot of sketching during our 3 weeks holiday. My goal was to have a sketchbook that would allow me to capture everything I needed on one page or spread like this one without having to draw too small. Using a smaller sketchbook would have forced me to minimize my sketches, which is not that bad, but it wasn't my preference. I wanted a balance between larger and smaller sketches, but not too small. That said, keep in mind that a larger sketchbook like this one will take up more space in your backpack and also will be heavier. For urban sketching or out and about in town, I usually recommend a smaller sketchbook like this one. Up to A5 size, they are great as it fits easier in your bag or backpack. Eliminate any concerns about bulk and heavy items. However, for longer trips like mine, you might want to consider a larger sketchbook to accommodate more sketches. I also carry a tiny sketchbook in my bag, in my daily bag, at all times. It's perfect for those moments when I have some spare time while waiting for appointments, which allow me to sketch and maintain my drawing habit regularly. From the beginning, I advised against buying expensive sketchbooks, especially those made with 100% cotton watercolor paper. They can be quite pricey, and you likely find yourself not using them as often as you would like when you are just starting out. I think it's essential to practice, learn, make mistakes. Something you can do it if you are afraid to use an expensive sketchbook. Just keep that in mind. Let's talk about sketching tools, pencil and pens. So what you're going to need: black ink or fine liners, pencil, extra leads if you're going to use mechanical pencil, and the razor. So I use mechanical pencil because that's my preference, that's what I like. But you can use regular pencil. Just keep in mind, if you use regular pencil, you also probably is going to need a sharpener. Now, the lead I use is HB, but you can use HB or 2B. I don't recommend too hard, which is like 3, 4H. 3H, 4H, they are quite hard and it's going to scratch and mark your paper. Or if it's too soft, like 3B, 4B, 6B, they are going to be too dark. Also, it's going to mark your paper. The pencil here is just to create a basic sketch with the main shapes where you want to put your sketches, and then you start with the ink on top. So this has to be done very lightly, and then very light on the paper, and then you start with the sketch with the ink, with the fine liners. Now for the fine liners, I have 3 sizes here: 0.1, 0.3, 0.8, and brush. 0.1 I use for sketching, 0.3 for writing the notes, and 0.8 in brush I use for titles and also to make some parts of the sketch darker. They needed to be waterproof because if you're going to use watercolor on top of the ink, if they are not waterproof, they are going to smudge. So keep that in mind when you buy. You don't need to get this same brand that I have. You can buy any brand you want, but they have to be waterproof. Now for the eraser, I use this black soft eraser, which is from Derwent Soft Art Eraser is called, because this one doesn't damage the watercolor paper. So that's why I prefer this one. But you can have any brush, any eraser that you want. So keep your kit simple, all the tools simple and minimal, so you don't you avoid carrying too much stuff with you. And that's it. Okay, let's talk about watercolors. I have 3 sets of watercolors here, and I'm gonna explain the difference between them. But I don't recommend that you buy big sets of watercolors with 24, 36, or even 40 colors. 12 colors are more than enough because you mix those colors and you create a bunch of other colors, an array of colors actually, and you also learn how to mix your colors. So I'm going to start with this one. This is Winsor Newton Cotman, which is student grade watercolors, comes with 12 colors, and the brush. The brush is quite small. For me, is a little bit useless unless I'm sketching quite small, that's okay. But if you sketch a little bit bigger, this is going to take a lot of time for you to fill your sketch with colors. But I'll talk about brushes later. So the colors here, you have I think 2 sets of primer colors and some neutrals and the white, and these are perfect to mix and create a bunch of other colors, like you can see here on the palette that I've been mixing some of the colors. This is a very affordable set and is from Winsor Newton. It's less than 20 pounds, but you don't need to buy Winsor Newton. You can buy any brand you want, but don't buy more than 12 colors. I think 12 is more than enough. Now this set is also for from Winsor Newton, but this one comes with professional artist grade watercolor. The difference between student grade and artist grade are on the quality of the paint, is the pigmentation, because artist grade has more pigmentation than student grade. So the paint is going to have more transparency, is going to blend much better than that one. It's going to, when you spread on the paper, is going to have a better effect on than the student grade. But it doesn't mean that these are not good, because they are good as well, especially if you are starting. So this palette is a little bit different a shape from the other one. Has 2 flaps here, also has the water bottle and another space here for mixing your colors. The brush is the same brush, quite small, has a sponge here you can use to create texture or remove excess water from your brush, and 12 colors as well. I think it's also 2 sets of primary here and the neutrals. And yeah, and also the lid turns into a container for water, which is quite good, quite nice. It's a nice touch, and it has the ring in the back so you can hold your palette in your hand without falling out of your hand when you are painting. So it's a very nice palette. And the difference between the two, obviously the paint, like I said, student grade, artist grade, and the price, because this is going to be more expensive than that one because the quality of the paint here are better. Now this set here is the set that I use. This is my palette. I use this for when I'm traveling or urban sketching around out and about in town, but also sometimes I use here when I'm in studio painting. I also use this palette instead of getting the bigger one that I have. So this one I custom made the palette that I wanted because I have my watercolors in tubes. So I pour the paints inside the half pans and I created my own palette with the colors that I prefer, that I like most. But I don't recommend you start with this. If you are starting now, I recommend you get a pre-made set, because these are cheaper and easier because you have the colors that are most used, and it's going to be better for you to learn how to mix color with the colors that comes in one of these sets, then create your own set in the beginning. And also because it's going to cost you more, because you have to buy the metal palette, you also have to buy the half pans to put the pens inside, and then have to buy all the colors in tubes, which is more expensive than the pens on the half pen or in sets. So I don't recommend creating a palette like this, but buying one of these sets would be perfect. You don't need to buy Winsor Newton. You can buy any brand you want, as long as you buy at least student grade. Don't buy kids watercolor because they are not very good, because they don't have much pigmentation and they are not going to perform well on paper, and then you are going to end up a little bit frustrated about the results you are going to have on your sketches. So at least student grade is fine. You don't need to buy artist grade if you don't want. So that's my recommendations for watercolors. Okay, now let's talk about the brushes. When I go traveling or urban sketching, I take travel brushes with me. I have this set that comes with 5 brushes from size 1 to size 5. Mostly I use size 5, or sometimes I also use the smaller one for details. The advantage of travel brushes because it has a lid, so it protects the shape of the brush and the bristles when you are transporting inside your bag. And also because it's compact, it's half the size of a regular brush. So if you are going to buy brush you don't have, and if you are able to get this travel brushes, I would recommend, because they are much easier to transport when you are out and about. But if you don't want to buy travel brushes, you can have regular brushes as well. This one is from Cotman, Winsor Newton Cotman, and they are quite good as a starter brush. This one is size 6 and this one is size 2. If you can buy 2 brushes, get one that's small and a medium size, and you are good to make some details with the small one and bigger washes, and apply the colors with the larger one, the medium size. But if you're going to buy just one brush, that's fine. Get one that's size 6 or 8, and if you are able to get one that has more of a point tip like this one here, would be great, because it's like having 2 brushes in one because you have the belly that you can apply the paint, the wash, the bigger wash, the paint, and they have the tip to to work in some details. So these are very affordable from Winsor Newton. And when you have this kind of brush, regular brush, because you need to transport inside your bag, and they usually come with this plastic tubes, so you keep the plastic tubes and you protect your brush inside your bag. That's a good way to keep the shape of the brush. I have also another size here with size 10 from Rosemary Co. that I use quite often, and I have the quill, which is very good for big washes. But you don't need to buy all this. You have 1 or 2 brushes is more than enough. Let's talk about extra tools and optionals. You're going to need a paper towel or a cloth to dry and clean your brushes. Then you're going to need a container for water, and I have this collapsible cup, which is portable and easy to carry. I also have a spray water bottle, so I can activate the paint in my palette in an easier way than dipping the brush into the water and bring water to the palette. But it's up to you. You don't need a spray bottle if you don't want to. Then I have white wash for highlights, but also I can use to mix with watercolor. But you can have a white gel pen if you prefer. Then I have some washi tape to protect the paper and some clips to hold the sketchbook open. These are all the extras you are going to need. Okay, now I'm going to show you how you are going to carry all this in your bag. So I have my kit bag, is this pencil case. I got this on Amazon. It comes with 3 of these flaps. 2 of them are removable, so I removed them. And I use this as my sketching kit bag. So I'm gonna fit everything that you see here inside this bag. So I'm gonna start with the palette and the paper towel. Then I have my brushes, the container, the spray water bottle. Then I have the wash which is here. Then I put the wash tapes, and on the other side I have the smaller items, so I put the binders here, the clip binders, I think they call clip binders, and I have this one I can put inside and close, because this I don't use very often, and my eraser. Then I have all the fine liners here. I can put all of them, and also the mechanical pencil and the highlighter. And then to finish off, I have my sketchbook inside because it fits perfect. And then I just have to close with everything inside. It's very compact and easy to have your entire sketching kit inside this bag. When I'm going traveling, I put this in my carry-on or checked bag, or even carry inside my tote or backpack. It's very easy and compact, and everything is protected inside this bag. The only downside of this bag is it doesn't have the strap, so you can use a shoulder bag or crossbody. That would be great if had the option, so you would be hands-free. But in this way, it's compact to carry inside other bag or backpack if you have. Now, you don't need to buy this if you don't want to. There are options. If you have a cosmetic bag at home, you could use a cosmetic bag instead. So I have this, and I'm going to show you how you can keep everything inside a cosmetic bag as well. So let's start by removing everything from here. The only difference is that you are not going to be able to put your sketchbook inside the cosmetic bag unless your sketchbook is quite small. But in my case, it's not possible. So I'm going to use this cosmetic bag for all the items on the kit. Everything you can put here inside. And also the clips, the razor, and the extra lead. Now for the fine liners and the pencil, I don't just throw inside the cosmetic bag because that would make a lot of mess and difficult to find. So I use a very small pencil case to have everything here, and I put on top of the rest of the kit because it makes it easier when you get to your location. You're going to start sketching. The first thing that you have is they are the pencils and the pens, the fine liners, because these are the first thing you're going to use when you start sketching. And then you have your sketchbook, and then you put this inside your tote, backpack, luggage, or carry-on, whatever you are doing. You carry everything here. So there are two options. You can buy a bag like this. That would be more because this one is easier, because when you open, you have everything organized and easy to find. This one, it gets a little bit more messy inside because everything is put on top of the others, and makes more difficult to get, except the fine liners and the pencils, which I put here. But it's up to you. You can start with a cosmetic bag if you have one lying around your house. You don't need to buy anything, spend money buying a specific bag. This one would be just fine. I really believe too many supplies can become overwhelming. Sometimes having fewer tools actually helps you focus more on observation, storytelling, and enjoying the moment. If you are just starting, use what you have. Don't buy anything. A cheap sketchbook and a simple pen are just enough. Don't let supplies become the reason you are delaying start. I also created a free beginner's guide with sketchbook prompts and simple travel sketching tips if you would like help in getting started. You can download it below on the description. Travel sketching isn't about carrying an art store with you. It's about noticing moments and slowing down and enjoying the experience. So keep it simple. See you next time.